Deep in the heart of Estes Park, Colorado, nestled high within the Rocky Mountains, the Stanley Hotel stands as a monument, not only to early 20th century luxury and grandeur, but also to a long and terrifying history of haunting the most skeptical visitors. Built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, inventor and entrepreneur, the hotel was originally intended as a luxurious mountain resort for wealthy Easterners suffering from tuberculosis. Its majestic colonial revival architecture, panoramic mountain views, and world-class service made it a dream retreat. But behind the elegant exterior lies a past saturated with ghost stories, unexplainable phenomena, and lingering spirits that seem bound to the hotel's many creaking rooms and shadowy corridors. The most infamous room, Room 217, has become the stuff of paranormal legend. In 1911, a massive explosion occurred due to a gas leak in that room, gravely injuring a housekeeper named Elizabeth Wilson. Although she survived, her spirit is believed to remain eternally tethered to the place of her trauma. Guests who have stayed in Room 217 have reported waking up to find their luggage mysteriously unpacked, lights turning on and off by themselves, cold drafts with no source, and even the feeling of an invisible presence climbing into bed beside them. Unmarried couples in particular claim to be separated during the night by an unseen force tugging them apart, as if some Victorian-era chaperone disapproves of their union. Stephen King, the acclaimed horror author, famously stayed in Room 217 in 1974. He and his wife were the hotel's only guests that night, and he later described a dream in which his son was chased through the endless corridors of the hotel by a malevolent fire hose. This nightmare, coupled with the eeriness of the empty hotel, inspired his iconic novel, The Shining, which would later be adapted into one of the most terrifying horror films of all time. While the Stanley Hotel was not the filming location for the movie, its real-life ghost stories are arguably more disturbing than fiction. Beyond Room 217, the entire fourth floor of the Stanley Hotel is considered a hotbed of paranormal activity. Originally, the servants' quarters, this floor echoes with the sounds of children laughing, running and playing, though no children are present. Room 401 is notoriously haunted by what guests describe as a malevolent male spirit. People report feeling watched, touched, or even pushed. Closet doors open and close on their own. Hangers swing without cause, and some have seen ghostly figures standing silently in the corners of their rooms. Others have heard whispered conversations in languages they cannot identify. Room 407 seems to host a more benign ghost, a man believed to be a former employee who continues his duties even in death. Guests have reported waking to find their blankets tucked tightly around them, pillows fluffed, and an overall sense of being cared for until they realize no one living has entered their room. Then there's Room 428, home to a phantom cowboy. Guests report seeing a tall figure, wearing a wide-brimmed hat, sitting quietly in the corner or standing at the foot of the bed. Some women have claimed they awoke to find him leaning over them, even feeling the cold brush of a ghostly kiss on their cheek. Other rooms experience mysterious tapping sounds, disembodied voices, and strange shadows that dart across the walls. But the hauntings aren't confined to the guest rooms. The grand staircase, an ornate, winding masterpiece of architecture, is said to act as a spiritual vortex, a place where energy flows freely between realms. Numerous guests and staff have captured photos, showing ghostly figures descending or ascending the stairs, translucent forms that were invisible to the naked eye. Some feel sudden, inexplicable chills while standing on the steps, or describe being pushed gently from behind when no one is there. The concert hall is another paranormal hotspot. Known for the ghost of Flora Stanley, the hotel's matriarch, her love for music lives on in death. Guests have heard the soft, ghostly notes of a piano playing late at night, only to find the piano lid closed and untouched. Lights flicker, footsteps echo in empty rooms, and shadows are seen moving behind the curtains. Employees working late have spoken of the sensation of being watched, tools going missing only to reappear in strange places, and the scent of perfume drifting through the air. In the basement and the tunnel system beneath the hotel, where staff once moved unseen by guests, there's a heavy, oppressive feeling of being followed. The temperature plummets. Voices are heard murmuring in the dark, and the smell of baking bread lingers despite the fact that the old kitchen has long been abandoned. Some claim to see the ghost of a former pastry chef, still dutifully preparing sweets in death, while others have spotted a spectral cat roaming the underground, its eyes glowing in the dark. Paranormal investigators from around the world have flocked to the Stanley Hotel, armed with EMF detectors, infrared cameras, and audio recorders. Many have captured compelling evidence, EVP, electronic voice phenomena, recordings of voices whispering names, calling for help or laughing maniacally, sudden spikes in electromagnetic fields, and chilling photographic anomalies. One well-known photo taken on the staircase reveals a spectral woman in period clothing descending the stairs. Unnoticed by the photographer until later, the hotel has been featured on multiple television shows, including Ghost Hunters and Most Haunted, where professional teams documented lights turning on by themselves, furniture moving without human intervention, and door handles jiggling in unoccupied rooms. In recent years, guests have shared their own terrifying experiences, waking up to find all the drawers in their room open, faucets running blood-colored water, or the television turning on to static at exactly 3 a.m. Some report dreams of being chased through the halls by faceless figures or trapped in their rooms as the walls pulse and close in. Even more disturbing are accounts of guests feeling violently ill upon entering certain rooms, only to recover completely once they step outside. Others have seen reflections in mirrors that do not match their own, or glimpsed people in old-fashioned clothing disappearing through walls. The staff, many of whom have worked there for decades, share stories of hearing their names whispered in empty hallways, or seeing a figure standing in a window of a room they know is unoccupied. Some refuse to enter certain parts of the hotel alone, particularly the attic and basement. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Stanley Hotel has leaned into its eerie fame, offering nightly ghost tours that take visitors through the most active areas of the property. Tour guides share the hotel's haunted history, and it's not uncommon for guests to faint, break down in tears, or refuse to continue after encountering something inexplicable. Yet the spirits at the Stanley do not seem to want to harm, only to be remembered. They are echoes of a bygone era, fragments of lives once lived in grandeur, service, or suffering. They walk the halls in silence or make their presence known with creaks, knocks, whispers, and cold touches. They are as much a part of the hotel as the antique chandeliers and grand fireplaces. The Stanley Hotel remains an architectural gem and a mecca for thrill seekers, skeptics and believers alike. Its reputation continues to grow with each new generation of visitors, who leave not only with photos and souvenirs but with stories of shadowy figures watching from the corners, of disembodied laughter echoing in the night, of rooms that breathe and walls that whisper, and of dreams so vivid and terrifying they blur the line between reality and nightmare. As the sun sets behind the Rockies and the sky darkens into an ocean of stars, the Stanley Hotel stands tall against the backdrop of eternity, a place where the living and the dead coexist, where every creaking floorboard tells a tale, and where the past refuses to be forgotten. Whether you come seeking luxury or legend, know this: once you enter the Stanley Hotel, something enters you in return, a chill in your spine, a whisper in your ear, a flicker in your peripheral vision, and it may never let you go.